Hello and welcome. Today's video log, my silver exit strategy. Have you figured out yours? I'm sure a lot of people watching this video, not everybody, but a lot of people are investing into gold and or silver. Therefore, when you look at strategies, what's important to note, regardless of what you are doing, in game theory, and the financial game is definitely a game, the first step is always to understand what the situation that is being presented to yourself. Then when you understand the situation, you assess it, what type of strategies, maneuvers can be executed for positive result. That's the secret for any game. Now, of course, understanding the situation and being right, that can take some skill, and more so the execution. So how confident am I that my assessment of the situation that we are living in a world where every country has these fiat currencies, although you're not going to have mainstream media state the word fiat too often, if at all, that it's smart to say bye-bye to currencies and hello and welcome to precious metals? I'll not answer that one, because I myself am over 99.9% confident that the fiat currency system will fail and the precious metals will reign as winners. Maybe not the winner, though. I'm not going to say silver is going to outperform everything else that you can get into, because most likely there are other things that may do better. Okay. So I've understood that situation, and of course I've assessed it. As far as getting out of it, well, what type of strategies can be used to get out of silver? Well, obviously, if you're trying to predict years in the future, the situation that you think may present itself could be different, thus you'd have to assess it differently. It's not much really to go over other than what most likely is going to happen. And there's really only a couple that I can think of. Number one is when silver is actually that of money. Again, that's the exit strategy. So therefore, I need to do whatever buying that I need to buy. I've got money. If there's real, say gold becomes the currency, then the gold to silver ratio will become extremely important. Then you have the timing aspect, and this is definitely gambling, where prices get up so high that you just sell. Prices, say for example, prices go up to 36, and one might be like, okay, time to profit take. I'm going to sell a quarter or a third of my investment or my supply. There we go. And then, of course, what you sell it for, you can really do one of two things. One, items that you are looking to buy. Well, if you're selling it at 36, when you could have sold it last month at 29, you got a good deal on whatever it is that you bought, assuming, of course, it didn't go up at the same rate. Secondly, just hold it and then buy cheaper. Therefore, if you were to sell at 36 and it goes back down to 22, okay, I can take a portion of what I sold it for and get back the exact same amount of ounces. Awesome world. Or I sold 40 ounces, I can get back 59. Sweet, free 19 ounces. That life is beautiful. Of course, it could backfire. You could sell at 36, and then 3 weeks later, price action's at 50. Kind of lost out. So it ends up working both ways. Now, within this whole cycle of silver, because the duration of time that this has played out has been a long time and could very easily continue to be more of an extended period of time, what I realize is going to happen within the silver community is you're going to have one, well, people are going to try to time these markets up or down. Some are going to win, some are going to lose, whatever. Unfortunately, there's going to be some people that are trying to protect themselves against this vicious monetary economic model, and they got silver, and then times get tough, and then they have to sell because they need to liquidate to be able to pay bills or whatever. And of course, you get unlucky, you're forced to sell when price is at 21, you bought at 33. That's a rough thing to deal with, and unfortunately, that's going to happen to a bunch of people. It's probably already happened to a bunch of people already. then you're going to have the situation where people are going to time the market and do well and just get a whole bunch of silver. And then, because they keep on getting their paychecks every 2 weeks or every week, they end up getting a larger amount, because let's assume they buy so much from 2008 to 2012. Well, they're going to buy so much again from 2012 to 2016. And assuming this collapse, we'll say in 2019, they buy more in 2017, they buy more in 2018. There's going to be a lot of people that have much larger stack sizes than they may have anticipated coming into the game. So a lot of those things are going to come into play. You know, it's interesting because I linked a documentary recently from the Corbett Report. And when I see these, I get a little excited whenever a new one comes out. Mainly because this is an opportunity for the masses to educate themselves. But then I say to myself, okay, take it for what it's worth. I figured back in 2008 it would have only taken maybe 24 months or so for people to really understand the situation and then act upon it, but I was wrong. However, there's always going to be more people that are figuring out the fraudulent system, and once enough of them do, the actions will naturally take place, like in a snowball effect kind of deal. It just seems you have to be extremely patient for how long this is going to take. Okay. And then of course you watch these documentaries and then you get new information. And an interesting thing is I've seen a Jeopardy clip where they asked the question within the presidential candidates, who wrote the book and the Fed? Which was the most difficult question within the group. And when I watch Jeopardy, I might get 3-4 questions right per episode, maybe depending on the category, sometimes 6 or 7. Sometimes even just 1. However, that one was an easy question. Now the first person who rung in got it wrong. And I wonder, if you were to ask Jeopardy contestants, or people who want to be on Jeopardy, that question, assuming that if they've seen that episode before, how did you handle that question before, would they get it right? And what percentage of people would get it right? If I were to ask those people the question, over 100 years ago, a meeting formed in Jekyll Island which created which institution a few years later? What percentage of the people are going to say the Fed or Federal Reserve? There used to be a game show where they would ask that you'd have to guess the percentage or amount of people out of so many that would be in that situation. If I was on that game show, I'd probably guess about 20 or 21. And I'd be freaking out that the person beside me is going to say under that, and I'm probably going to still lose because, damn it, the entire world in masses just doesn't get what really is early signs of what would be like a terminal cancer, which can still be fixed. After all, if one has cancer, what do? They have surgery. There's going to be a lot of pains within the actual surgery procedures, and of course, the post-recovery stage. A lot of pain. A lot more pain than you would have had by just ignoring it at that time. However, when you ignore it, the pain's going to keep on going on and it's going to exacerbate really, really bad. So to me, it's one of two things. Either the exacerbation of the pain from the system, which guarantees debt to the most massive levels, or enough people wake up and it comes true. So one of those two things is going to happen. And when it does, that's really the exit strategy. Because most likely it's going to take gold at least $3,000 or $4,000 to really have the masses talking about it. Now when you stay talking about these, how are you going to be able to sell these prices when they get so high? And the more and more I think about that one, easy. And that's exactly what's being. It's going to be easy. For when prices are in a major uptrend, that's when selling is easy because everyone is interested, everyone wants to buy, but when the prices get crushed, it's no longer as easy. It was easier to sell silver in 2011 when the price action was above 30 or 40 than it is today. And of course, get your whatever you want, $1 over spot, whatever it is you want, 2 over spot. And that's because of everyone's reaction towards it. People buy when the things go up, and when they're down so much, you don't get as many buying. Of course, I'm on the stage where I think it's best to buy when it's way down and not way up. So overall, basic exit strategy, holding, waiting for the currency system to collapse, and if I have a chance to time it, I might. However, at 50, I couldn't see myself liquidating much at all. At 75, maybe a smaller amount. 120, still, I could never take that chance of selling, holding on to physical fiat cash, and then getting burnt because of it. Got my game plan in place, and we're playing the game. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great weekend.